If two Americans retire with the same money, why does one run out of it while the other never does? What if the biggest retirement mistake Americans make doesn't happen while they're working, but after they stop? Most Americans believe retirement fails for one simple reason: they didn't save enough. That belief feels logical, it feels safe, and it feels familiar, because it suggests the problem was effort. But effort is not the issue, structure is. Here's the part no one explains clearly. In the United States, retirement accounts do not just store money, they store future tax behavior. Every dollar inside those accounts is already labeled, not by you, by the system. And when you start withdrawing that money, those labels activate. Quietly, automatically. The system does not ask why you retired. It does not ask how long you worked. It only asks three questions. Where did this dollar come from? How much arrived this year? And what else did it collide with? Those collisions decide everything. This is where most people lose control. Because retirement is not a spending problem. It is a withdrawal sequencing problem. Most retirees withdraw money based on convenience. Whatever account looks easiest. Whatever feels natural. Whatever seems harmless. But the tax system is not designed for convenience. It is designed for classification. Some dollars are cheap to withdraw. Other dollars are expensive. The mistake is not withdrawing too much. The mistake is touching the wrong dollar first. Once that happens, the damage compounds. And there is no rewind button. Here's why this is so dangerous. Many retirees believe their income goes down in retirement, but their taxes often go up. Not suddenly, not dramatically, slowly, silently. Inflation increases nominal withdrawals. Mandatory distributions rise with age. Tax thresholds fail to adjust at the same pace. So even if your lifestyle stays the same, the system recalculates you. You move into higher brackets, not because you are richer, but because the system says you are. This phenomenon has a name, but most people never hear it until it's too late. Their income feels flat. Their spending feels controlled. Yet every year, the tax bill grows, not because of mistakes, but because of inaction. The system rewards people who plan early, and it punishes people who wait. Because waiting allows the system to decide for you, automatically, impersonally, without mercy. Here is the hardest truth to accept. Most people who struggle in retirement did not invest poorly. They saved, they diversified, they stayed disciplined, but they failed at the final step. They withdrew blindly. Retirement success is not determined by how much you accumulated. It is determined by how intelligently you extract. And extraction is where strategy matters more than effort, more than discipline, more than sacrifice. Most people ask the wrong question. They ask, how much money do I need to retire? The correct question is, which dollars should I never touch first? Because once you touch them, the system responds. And that response is permanent. This is why two Americans can retire with the same amount of money and live completely different retirements. One remains stable, the other slowly runs out, not because of lifestyle, not because of spending, but because of sequence. If you don't design that sequence in advance, the system will design it for you, and it will not do so in your favor. Because the tax system does not reward passivity, it rewards structure. Timing, awareness. This is not about working harder. This is not about saving more. This is about understanding the rules that apply after work ends. Because retirement is not the finish line. It is the most expensive phase of the game. Slow down. And most people only realize that when the cost is already locked in. Most people assume retirement risk is obvious. Market crashes, unexpected expenses, living too long. Those risks are visible. But the most damaging risk is invisible, because it doesn't feel like a mistake when it happens. Here is what that mistake looks like in real life. A retiree needs money. They open the account that feels safest. They withdraw what seems reasonable. Nothing breaks, no alarm sounds. But inside the system, something changes. That single withdrawal reshapes the entire year. It stacks on top of other income. It pushes totals past thresholds. It changes how every next dollar is treated. And once that year closes, the outcome is locked. This is why retirement errors compound. Not because of greed, not because of recklessness, but because each year quietly builds on the last. Most people believe they can fix things later. They believe they can adjust next year. But the tax system does not reset. It remembers. Every withdrawal becomes part of a pattern, and patterns define classification. Here is the part almost no one plans for. Retirement does not begin all at once. It unfolds in phases: early years, middle years, later years. Each phase interacts differently with the system. Treating them the same is a costly mistake. Early retirement years are often the most flexible, but most people waste them. They delay decisions. They postpone structure. They assume simplicity is safer. It isn't. Those early years quietly determine everything that follows. Later, flexibility disappears. Required withdrawals appear. Thresholds tighten. Options narrow. At that point, strategy turns into damage control. This is why timing matters more than totals. Two people can withdraw the same lifetime amount, but one pays far more than the other, not because of luck, but because of when decisions were made. The system is not emotional. It does not care about fairness. It responds to timing, classification, and sequence. Nothing else. This is the uncomfortable truth. You can do everything right while working, and still lose control after you stop. Because retirement is governed by a different set of rules. Rules most people never study. That is why retirement planning is incomplete without withdrawal planning. Accumulation without extraction strategy is unfinished work. The most dangerous assumption is believing that future you will figure it out, because future you will be operating under stricter conditions, with fewer choices, and higher consequences. The system rewards those who act before pressure arrives, not after. This is not about perfection. It is about awareness. Because once you see how the system reacts, you stop making blind moves. And blind moves are what cost the most. Most Americans never realize this. They only see the outcome: higher taxes, reduced flexibility, faster depletion. They never see the cause. That is why two people can live through retirement with the same savings and experience completely different realities. One feels in control, the other feels trapped. The difference is not intelligence, it is not income, it is not discipline, it is understanding when not to act. Retirement is not ruined by one big mistake. It is quietly shaped by many small, unplanned decisions. And the most expensive ones are the decisions you didn't know you were making. If you understand this, you are already ahead of most people. Because the moment you recognize the system, you stop letting it decide for you. And that changes everything.